And welcome back to Subculture on centralcoastradio.com. Well, now we're going to take a look at the other big musical that is on in Melbourne right now. It's on at the Athenaeum Theatre, and I'm talking about Elvis, A Musical Revolution, which looks at the early kind of career of Elvis, what it was like for him growing up, and then what it was like for him when his career first started to take off, because this kind of fades out when it gets to what we commonly refer to as the Fat Elvis years. So we don't get to see much of that in this production. It kind of concentrates more on his early career. But Lee, what did you think of Elvis, A Musical Revolution?
I really enjoyed how it showed Elvis's childhood and, of course, going into adulthood. But they did it really beautifully with flashbacks. Now, I'm not usually a fan of flashbacks because I think show show a story like from start to be like start at the beginning and go to the end. Like, why use flashbacks? But I think in this production, it worked exceptionally well. You had flashbacks to his childhood, his home life with his mother, and you saw the music he grew up with. So you saw him in the record store, for example, listening to amazing records, but then those records came to life as singers came onto the stage and actually then performed the music that he was listening to. And so that was a really special moment in the production. I think there were a number of performances and they were just fantastic. And of course, based on kind of that black gospel feel. So yeah, there was a couple of songs that came up that I remembered from my childhood and I was like, oh, that song's stuck in my head now. But it was really amazing. I thought that Luca Dunn played an incredible role of Elvis as a child. This actor had the crowd's full attention. He really had charisma and stage presence. I think he's going to do really well, in his career. I think he really showed everyone that he is a fantastic actor. Rob Mullet did a wonderful job of singing, dancing, and sounding like Elvis. I don't think he quite looked like Elvis, like just in his face, but overall, I think he did an awesome job. And I thought, I just think that his sound of Elvis was really there, and of course he had that leg shake going on. But yeah, he definitely had a depth to his acting that you you understood the storyline and had a deep affection for Elvis and the character. Noni McCullum brought a loving, encouraging, nurturing character to the stage as Elvis's mum. She was actually one of my favourites in the production just because of the way that she was so encouraging to her son and and that she believed in him and just wanted him to be able to do anything that he wanted to do within reason, though, because she was also protective of him and safety. She wanted him to be safe and she wanted him to be happy. Anne Criswell brought a depth of emotions to the stage in playing Priscilla. You saw the journey of happiness of when she's first getting to know Elvis and dating him, to sadness and pretty much depression over time. But I have to say that actress Kirby Burgess is an actress that really stands out on stage. She captures your attention. Now, she acted in numerous roles on stage, including Anne Margaret, a secretary, and she's also in the ensemble. She has the most powerful voice, which draws you in when she sings, and you find yourself wanting to have her to have more solos. And to see her on stage more. Even when she was singing with everybody else, I could hear her voice cut through because it's just so dominant and so strong.
And that's probably because you've listened to the Cruel Intentions soundtrack so many times.
I have also listened to Cruel Intentions soundtrack because she was in that musical too. But I just have to say that, I could recognise her as a number of characters in this. And yeah, I particularly liked her performance as Anne Margaret. She did an exceptional job. I have to say that the ending of this production, or the story of Elvis's story, felt like it stopped abruptly. It didn't actually finish off his story in life. It just kind of stopped after one of the Christmas extravaganzas on TV, basically. However, the encore of the cast with their singing and dancing at the end is spectacular and really gets the crowd into it, and I really loved that. I just had wished that the story had continued so that we saw all of Elvis's life, and it just kind of stopped abruptly for me.
Yeah, I think the worst thing that happened for this musical was Baz Luhrmann's Elvis movie, because there were key moments from that movie that I were waiting for in the stage production that didn't happen. Mainly the big one about where Elvis was almost arrested because he was told not to play in front of a mixed audience on a baseball field, and then he did. I thought not having key moments like that kind of detracted from his life. I thought Ian Stenlake did a really good job as well as Colonel Parker. He's unrecognizable in the role, but I wanted to see more of that nasty Parker, like we know now through the movie. And if you've read any books about Elvis, Parker wasn't the hero that many people thought he was over the years. In fact, you could kind of argue that he was kind of a vile person, and I kind of wanted to see Ian Stenlake be able to bring that out more, but they didn't actually go that way. I thought Rob Mallet was brilliant as Elvis, and I thought Noni McCallum was brilliant as his mother as well. In fact, they were some of my favourite scenes for the whole production, was when, whether it be young Elvis or the Rob Mallet Elvis, having conversations with his mother. I thought they were some of the stronger parts of the actual production. I was the same with you. I thought Kirby Burgess stole just about every scene she was in, with her amazing voice and her stage presence as well. Loved the music. I thought the music was absolutely amazing. Of course, covering some of Elvis's biggest hits. Kind of disappointed that they didn't do In the Ghetto, but
yeah, there was quite a few missing, but you had a big career, so
yeah.
And I feel like a lot was left to the very end as well. Yeah, it's interesting that some of the songs at the very end weren't put through the actual.
I thought the one thing that the musical did do well that they didn't do in the film was it concentrated a lot on his acting career. Yes. That kind of got buried a little bit in the Baz Luhrmann film, so it was good to see them kind of concentrate on that, because I don't know about you, but when I was growing up, my dad was the big music fan in my family, and he wasn't an Elvis fan, so I didn't get to hear a lot of Elvis music when I was growing up. Dad was more into stuff like Alice Cooper and Aussie rock and stuff like that. My way of introduction to Elvis was watching the midday movies.
Yep, always running home for the midday matinee.
Yeah, like Jailhouse Rock and films like that.
Yes.
Like, I think there's one about Elvis in Hawaii as well.
Yep.
They were my introduction to Elvis and my introduction to his music. So I was kind of excited to see that they concentrated on his on the acting side of his career as well, because a lot of people forget that he didn't just do one or two movies. He did a lot of movies in his career. He was just as big a movie star as he was a singer. So I was really, really thankful for that. But look, I did really enjoy it. I was like you. I thought it faded out without warning towards the end. But yeah, it's still, if you're an Elvis fan, you are definitely going to want to go along and check out Elvis, A Music Revolution at the Athenaeum Theatre right now. Check online for tickets. But yeah, I think this is one that you'll love if you're an Elvis fan.